It's the Pirate Cast. Let's go, 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 yeah, go, go. It's the Pirate Cast. Let's go, 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 go. You know what I mean?
Welcome back into Pirate Cast, and we have with us, as you can see on the screen, our very own Pirates team manager, the amazing Mr. Neil Middleditch. And Neil, it's already been, after only 2 home meetings, a hell of a start to the season. First of all, obviously, we love to see the Pirates win. We love to watch the Pirates full stop. But over and above that, quite a serious injury down at Wimborne Road last night that derailed the Oxford meeting for an hour or so while ambulance obviously attended to Dan Gilks. We're hearing a kneecap injury. Have you got any updates on how the young lad's doing?
That's all I've heard, Lee. I messaged Shrocky this morning just to wish Dan all the best and everything, but I heard it was he popped his knee out, which is a very painful injury. Yeah,
absolutely. It didn't look particularly pleasant down there, and unfortunately, if it is just a sort of a kneecap injury, it looked as though it might have been a lot worse. So hopefully he's got away with that a little bit.
It'll take a bit of time. Knees are a nightmare. If he's done ligaments as well, it's it could be a while, but hopefully not as bad as they seem to have thought.
Yeah. I mean, I did my ligaments out of my knee when I was about 11 years old, and it still gives me jip to this day.
I've snapped both my cruciates in both legs. Not from Speedway, I hasten to add, from skiing.
that was exactly how I did mine. Mental.
You're usually drunk at the time, I
am. Brilliant. Go for it, Beth. We'll move on to last night.
See, that's why I'm not allowed to go skiing. I can't. Not going to risk it. I should be
good. My wife is a ski instructor. I am actually a good skier, but it's just stupid when I've had a few too many drinks. I think I'm not pay the price. There we go.
Always the way. I mean, coming off of last night, it's only the second time we've been down at Wimborne Road this year. Obviously, not the ending we would have wanted, but it was still, it was a close meeting. What was the thoughts of the team afterwards? What was kind of the feeling?
I think disappointment. I think the problem was, my pre-meeting chat was, come on, we got to hit them hard and hopefully if they get a tactical, get out of the way. And it ended up us using the tactical, but so it's not ideal. I mean, no excuses really. I mean, the track wasn't, okay, no excuses. Here he is making an excuse. The track wasn't exactly how we would have liked it, shall we say? But it's the same for both teams, so there's no excuses. But after the break, we came back good. We got the 1 and 3, which were the better gates of the evening. We got those, and we managed to pull it back and got it right down to a last heat decider. But sadly, just missed out at the post.
Yeah, it's a difficult one. I think we're always going to come under that much scrutiny because Poole is just used to that success, and anything less than that, certainly the supporters, but they struggle with anything like that. There was certainly a very somber mood throughout the night, and no shying away against it. A lot of the boys were struggling at various points during the evening, and the Poole supporters just aren't used to it. How how do you handle it? I mean, social media this morning, I don't even really want to look at it too much because the rest of the Speedway world is turning on us like velociraptors. And how do you handle that kind of criticism when things aren't going so well?
But that always happens, doesn't it? I think it's I always say to my boys, and I think it's a well-known fact, I always say, welcome to the most hated team in British Speedway. And the fact that we keep winning annoys people, and I love annoying people. But yeah, it's the social media. They're entitled to their opinions. Absolutely, I don't have a problem with that. Some of the comments I read were a little bit sort of a bit out there, maybe not so much inside knowledge as I have, obviously. But we came back last night, and we were sat with Zach and Ben, and we were sort of running through the meeting. What we felt went wrong or whatever. But I think we Oxford were outgating us, by a mile. I mean, their trump card was obviously Mitch. I mean, he had an absolute brilliant start, 3 heat wins straight off on the bounce, and that's tough. Reserves play a huge part in the meeting, and it's not. You don't have to be a genius to work out that Matt's not doing anything. Unfortunately, it's a shame for him. I mean, his heart's in the right place, but he just hasn't got that fire in his belly. And Starkey, Starkey. All right, I'm going to get 5 points last night. That's his job, really. I know it's 5 rides, but he did find a problem with his bike in one race. So, he did his job, but we can't carry. And Louis obviously had a bit of an off night with the engine, packing up when he was leading in the first one, and then obviously got Rich give him a bit of a nudge in the first corner.
Yeah, it was a difficult one, and again, as you mentioned, everyone seemed to have a bit of bad luck. Gating wasn't on our side, machinery issues weren't great, and again, you mentioned the track earlier, and this time of year, I think it's a bit difficult to, one day it can be absolutely beaming sunshine, roasting hot, and then it can chuck it down with rain. Springtime is always a problem. Beth, I know you wanted to sort of touch on the track a little bit more.
Yeah, I think the track is always a conversation when it comes to Poole. But I mean, you said, maybe it wasn't quite the way you would have wanted it. Was that quite a general feeling throughout the boys? Was there stuff maybe you would have preferred?
I think, a few weeks ago when we had the meeting, and we had like 2 or 3 days rain before, and so the track's getting a good watering. Then we got to the racetrack and it was brilliant. I mean, they'd done the starts really good. We like our starts really grippy. And last night they were sort of, gate 1 and 3 were good. 2 and 4 when we got there, it was just like mud, and you can't get any traction out of mud. But so you want them really consistently. Gate 4 tends to be a bit of a graveyard later on in the meeting anyway. But it just wasn't, and it's when I'm doing the track walk, you want positive vibes. You don't want them to go, oh, this is not good, and straight away there's that sort of little bit of negativity there, which I don't like, and which I try to take out of the boys. I just said, look, it's the same for both teams. We've both got to ride it, but they do come with setups for that track, how it was last week, and if it's different, they then have to start changing setups. And like Anders said last night, he was basically back to running his Oxford setup on the Poole track, because it was a slick track, which Oxford tends to be, and of course they loved it.
Yeah, it a real challenge, isn't it? I don't think a lot of people who just come down and watch Speedway realise quite how much, they've all just got to ride around a brown oval for 15 heats, and the setups and how the track plays into that, and all the different options. It's not just hop on a Speedway bike and go. It is a complicated animal when you factor in all those little things. One of the things that obviously we touched on earlier was the already less than 24 hours after the meeting, a lot of fan feedback online, and people are already calling for lineup changes to be made. Of course, we've only had 2 home matches, so it's massively early for doing that sort of stuff. But again, I didn't want to say not giving anything away, but not sort of saying a strategy. But how long do you let a team sort of settle and sort of wait for improvements to see, if there are team changes? Because it's difficult, when you've got different aspects that are affecting riders. Some of them dip in form, some of them it's machinery, some of them technique and getting out the starts and things like that. I suppose it's a really difficult thing to talk about.
Yeah, it is. I mean, and Matt's sort of, and Danny have been criticised in the past for perhaps being a little bit too ruthless. Max Perry we got criticism about Max last year, but you can't win a league on sentiment. You need riders who are going to perform on the track, and sadly, if they're not performing, it's like in any job. If you're not doing your job, you get replaced, and sadly, it's a cut and thrust. And we obviously we're sitting out waiting for Will to come in. I think it's not till 1st of July. I think he actually is allowed to ride for us. So it's another month. We're going to have some meetings, which we need to be winning. We can't be afford to lose any more meetings. All right, it's not just the BSN trophy; it's a BSN trophy which we won and we want to win again. So I will be talking with Matt and Dan and see if there are other options open to us to get us back on the winning track again. I mean, I'm not running for the lifeboats at this stage of the season, because the signs are good, but it's just a few little bits of bad luck and everything, but that comes with Speedway, and you just got to ride over those and try and get through it and get back on track.
Yeah, definitely. I think coming into that as well, I think sometimes we don't always think, when we're looking at Speedway riders and we're looking at the team, there's a lot of mentality that comes behind it as well. There's a lot of kind of how you focus on that, and obviously there was a lot of conversation as it was Oxford. It's the first time we were seeing them come back to Wimborne Road since obviously some very competitive finals last year. Was that something that you felt a lot in the pits last night? Was there a lot of sort of competitive spirit left sort of from?
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, I think with the history we've got with Oxford in the finals last year. I mean, and I said to the boys on the track, I said, this is not a meeting I want to win. This is a meeting we must win. Sadly, we didn't. And that's, you know, the rivalry's great. I mean, we've always had it. We used to have with Exeter in the past and Eastbourne in the past, and yeah, the Oxford. I think it's good, you know, to have that rivalry. I mean, it got a little bit probably too heated in the finals last year. Some of the stuff that was said on the social medias, but you know, it's good. And Peter Schrock, their team manager, is a great friend of mine, and you know, we had a laugh. And I phoned him this morning, or messaged him this morning, and said, you know, good on you, you big German sausage. But but he's yeah, I think, you know, we wanted to win it, and the boys were very disappointed last night. You know, that, you know, as everybody was in the stadium, but you know, it's one of those things, isn't it? The Pirates, we don't like losing, and I said, if it doesn't hurt when you lose, you know, it's not good.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, couldn't agree more. You could tell by the body language when some of the guys came over the finish line in, you know, the not so favourable spots with their heads down, and you could really tell it was affecting them. And you know, sometimes riders, you know, that they dip when they're in a bad spot. Others get proper fired up and really want to go for it in their next ride. You spoke about Matt earlier on, Matt Marson. We spoke to him before the start of the season. He was really looking forward to giving it a go, and I think in his defense, he's doing his best out there, but maybe he's just a little bit miscast in the bottom end of the Pirates for this year. He still might have a little way to go. And again, we've got Will coming in end of June, beginning of July. What have you said to Matt Marson at this point? Because
I'm trying to encourage him. I'm not, you know, my job as a manager is people management. It's instilling confidence in them. You know, when we sort of had that break, or just before the break, I called all the boys together, and you know, they were talking about setups and saying, yeah, we can get this back. Let's get back. I mean, traditionally we are better. We come strong towards the end of the meeting, which we did last night. You know, obviously, fortunate with the Dan Gilks incident, but then unfortunate with Louis packing up when he was leading the ride, or starting to pack up. So yeah, it's my job is just to keep their heads up when they've had a bad ride. They know they've had a bad ride. You know, when that's when they need the chat from me, when they need this, like, and I you know, Zach, after he came last in his first one, very sort of characteristics, you know, I said to him, you know, I said, just put it behind you, mate, it's done, just move on to the next one, just get it sorted, and he did, you know, and that's what you got to do. You can't let it sit there and with your head in your lap and you know, wonder what you've done. You just got to put it behind you and move on to the next one.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, with everything that happened last night, I think that really sort of brings things home of how much of a danger this sport really is. And I think this season already we've seen a lot of injuries and crashes. It's, you know, there's been a lot of stuff going on, and obviously, I mean, you've got one of them under your own roof. We did hear a little bit from Ben last night, but for anyone that wasn't able to hear that, anyone that wasn't at the track, what's kind of the latest? How's he getting on?
Well, he flew back to Poland. His Polish club flew him back to Poland. They got the best wrist surgeon to come and take care of him. He's pinned. He's got 3 pins in his wrist, but he literally actually his sort of wrist is like dislocated, so gone from there over to here. Not that far, but it's right out of line. I mean, at the moment, my house looks like a physio. I mean, we've got a hyperbaric chamber, we've got the vibro plate, we've got spinning bikes, we've got infrared machines, we've got everything going. And Ben, you know, every morning I come down, he's sat in his little hyperbaric chamber, which, for people who don't know, we basically breathe 26% oxygen now, but in the hyperbaric chamber, you're breathing 96% oxygen. So what it does, it metabolizes your blood, and it's good in healing and speeding up healing. So he's in there 2 sessions a day, every day. So, but you know, 6 to 8 weeks probably he's looking at, if he's lucky. I mean, at the moment, he couldn't squeeze a crisp packet.
Yeah, it's a real shame, isn't it? I mean, Ben, as he said last night, I think this is his first major injury. So, you know, a little bit of a knock to the confidence as well when you're not, you know, some of these older guys, people like Louis and Richard have been through the wars. And, you know, even if they do get a major injury, it's like, okay, let's heal, let's rehab, let's get straight back on a bike. But it can really knock your confidence, especially when you're a young rider and you know, is the first time that something like this has happened. So, yeah, speaking of that, another rider, of course, that is in everyone's thoughts at the moment, Tai Woffinden, you know, big crash. I honestly don't know how he's up and about, you know, how quickly he was. Have you had any contact with Tai since?
No, I obviously, like everybody else, and I sent him a personal message as well, just wishing him a speedy recovery. Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, you think, femur. I mean, that's a massive injury. It's like snapping an iron rod. That's how strong your femur is.
Yeah.
And the fact that it just shows you how medical science has moved on. The fact that he's up and walking within days, it was amazing. And Ben, I mean, he had a cast on for about a week or so. Now he's got this sort of mechanical brace to sort of keep it in place. And it's not. I don't say it's not so cumbersome. It's still very cumbersome for them, but it's not how it was 15, 20, 30 years ago, the medical science. But what Tai, I mean, it's amazing what he's done. But we've probably all seen the x-rays. Can you come back from that? It's tough. I mean, he's 30, what is he, 34, 35?
Yeah.
He's done it all. He's won 3 world titles. I mean, what do you got to prove to yourself? I mean, it's something him and Faye should sit down and he said he will be back. So good on him. If he's still got that fire, that enthusiasm, you like go back to Ben. You can't let that worry you. It's inherent in the beast, isn't it? We know that injuries come in Speedway, come with many motorcycle sports, as we sadly in the British Superbikes found out this week, is that tragic accident there. But it's tough. It's tough, but we all knew the risks. They all know the risks, and it's you've just got to take it on the chin, and just get back on your bike. And it affects some people, badly, particularly obviously if it's a horror accident. But Ben's wasn't. Well, it's bad enough, obviously, but it was a break. It was a break. I mean, it was just like a case of falling down awkwardly, like you or I could do walking down the street. We could slip off a pavement and do exactly the same injury. But it's just got to get over that.
Yeah, it's. I think if anyone can do it, whether or not it's down to determination or sheer sort of speedway rider brain of whatever, I'll just hold back on the bike and everything will be fine. Don't worry about it. Hopefully we do see Tai, back on a bike at some point, whether it's competitively or whatever. We'll wait and see.
He'll be competitive. He doesn't do it to ride around. He'll be competitive. Don't worry about that. And so he probably will be. I mean, when you talk, some of the injuries, some of the, Adam Royden, who rode for me. I mean, he broke just about every bone in his body.
Yeah.
They just keep coming back. I mean, it's phenomenal. When you talk to, some of my friends who are non-Speedway, and I tell them, what's happened, what injuries, and I say, oh, he'll be back in 3 weeks. And they're going, really? They're hard men. They're hard, but you have to be.
Yeah, not like the football players who will sort of roll around and we
won't go there.
Yeah, let's see. All right, okay, it's going to get a bit too controversial. Yeah. Let's move on to another little section, or the final section of the interview. Now, we've started bringing in this year a series of questions called Pieces of 8. Trying to keep it pirate themed, but it's 8 questions, and we're going to do sort of quick fire. Answer them with a couple of words. First thing that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be too serious. So, 8 questions. First one. I think I know what your answer is going to be to this one, but who was your favourite rider growing up?
Oddfus Engine was my favourite rider growing up. Okay,
good. Second one, if you weren't a Speedway rider or Speedway manager, what would you be doing?
What would I be doing? Tough one, really. I'd love to be playing golf.
Tour. Yeah.
If I was good enough, I'd love to be. I would love to have always been a sportsman. I always wanted to be a sportsman, and I was fortunate enough to do it. So, but golf player would have been fantastic, wouldn't it?
Excellent. Number 3, what book, movie, or TV series would you recommend to anyone?
Mobland.
Okay, is that Netflix?
Yeah, I think it's Paramount Plus. Brilliant.
Oh, Paramount Plus.
Pierce Brosnan and Helen Mirren. It's pretty brutal, but it's very good.
Nice. Check that one out, everyone. Number 4. This one stumps a lot of people because it might need a little bit of thought. But what is a life lesson that Speedway has taught you that also applies off the track?
Yeah, I think it's respect other people. I mean, respect other riders. I think that's the biggest thing, and I think that's what we have in Speedway. They race against each other, but they're all mates. Sam Marson was around the pits chatting to the boys the other night, and that's the good thing. I think respect for your opponent is a huge thing.
Yeah, fantastic. Number 5. What's the biggest misconception people have about Speedway riders?
From the start, the race is finished. From the tapes is finished, which yes, we all know it can be, but you out of 15 heats, you will get good races, you will get great races, and you will get boring races. That's Speedway. I sort of watched that in Formula 1 for 2.5 hours or whatever.
Yeah, tell me about it. Number 6. What's your favorite holiday destination?
Austria.
Wow, very nice. Okay. Number 7. Outside of Speedway, what brings you the same level of adrenaline?
I mean, I play golf, like I say, but it's not really an adrenaline pumping sport, is it really? I mean, I don't really do anything sort of dangerous anymore that really sort of gets, I suppose skiing would be it. Yeah, skiing would be, I mean, bouncing down the slopes. Yeah. I think skiing would is a good buzz.
Cool stuff. And then finishing off with number 8, do you have any pre-meeting rituals or superstitions?
Myself as a manager, no, not really. I mean, everybody knows I'm a pacer. I pace up and down a lot. I mean, if I do something particularly one week and it works, I do it. I mean, I found a lucky penny once at Ipswich, and kept that in my pocket for ages. And we kept winning. So, and then when I lost, I was devastated. I used to have a lucky pen as well. I used to have a lucky pen. It was a dolphin. When you press the top, it squeaked. It was great. I loved it.
If it works, it works.
Yeah. But no actual sort of pre-match routine. No, not really. No.
We've noticed, I think, a couple of the guys, I know Louis and Matt Marson both do something like putting is it the left sock on first?
Yeah, it was left sock on first. They have to do their left sock, and that was.
Yeah, I mean, when I was riding, if I put my socks on inside out one night and had a good meeting, I would always put them on that way, and I would never wear green. That was I got that from my dad. But then you look at Simon Wigg, he wore green the whole time.
Yeah.
And did him well. But yeah, I think you have your little things, go under a bridge when there's a train going over it, and magpies and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I mean, I don't know so much now, but I'm a bit superstitious about certain things.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Again, it's all psychological and mental, but you just don't want to take that chance, do you?
No, that's right. No, that's exactly right.
So that's the Pieces of 8 with Neil Middleditch. Neil, thank you once again for taking the time to talk to us. Again, we arranged this before Wednesday night happened, and it was going to be a sort of standard "how's the team getting on" interview. And I think this is kind of a key time, because we don't tend to speak to you or any of the guys after a big Pirates loss, especially against number one, a team as competitive as Oxford that we really wanted to beat. And this early in the season, where people are sort of starting to feel that the Pirates are struggling just with 2 home meetings.
I know. I mean, give us a chance, guys. Yeah.
Yeah.
And the BSN, we're not definitely out of it yet. We've got to, if Scunny beat Workington, we got a chance. So we're not out of it yet. And it's funny because it sort of reminded me of years ago when we scraped into the playoffs when we signed Greg Hancock. Everybody sort of written us off that year, and we bounced back and won the league. So hopefully it'll be a repetition of that.
So we signed Hancock then. Are we going to slide some Marslick in somewhere?
Yeah. We're chatting with him as we speak, actually.
Oh, good. All right. Okay, that's cool. Well, we'll let you get on with that. I can see your phone is ringing with a Polish number as we speak. So
that's actually ringing. Someone wants to know if we want any flower baskets, actually.
Fantastic. Middlo, thank you so much.
That's so exciting now.
Speedway and flowers. You can't go wrong.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, exactly.
All right, Middlo, we'll see you down at Wimborne Road next week. And yes, I'm sure the guys will be fired up to make a point after this past Wednesday. So thanks for taking the time out, and we'll see you down there.
Yeah, you're welcome, guys. Okay. Pleasure.
No worries. Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Take care.
It's the Pirate Cast. Let's go. Yeah, go. It's the Pirate Cast. Let's go. You know what I mean?